Hi there, this is the final video of my Inktober series. In this video, you'll see me complete drawings of days 27 through 31. I have a playlist that I'll link up in the iCard and also in the description box if you're interested in seeing any of the previous drawings. Stick around to the end of the video to see all 31 of my drawings for this month and see if you can tell whether I've made any progress in marker use throughout the challenge, which was my goal if you weren't aware. So for day 27, the prompts were studying and fairy lights. I had a lot of fun with this one. We have a girl sitting on her bed with a laptop on her knees, and on the wall beside her are some shelves with some books and plants, and eventually the fairy lights will make their appearance, running along her wall and across the bookshelves. I really like how the warm colors on the right side of the drawing balance out the cool colors on the left side. I wanted the bed sheets and pillows to remain white but still have some dimension, so I ended up just using a graphite pencil to do the shading on them because at the moment, the only gray markers I have are really dark, and I'm not really good at using the blender marker to make colors lighter. If that's even what it's used for, I'm not really sure. But as for the fairy lights, I went with a similar lighting effect as in my flannel and candles drawings, and I think it works really well with this style. My main goal for doing this challenge was to try to improve using alcohol markers since they're not my first medium of choice and I don't know much about them. I really do admire marker artists and the different styles and level of skill that they're able to achieve with them. Since painting is my preferred type of art making, some might say that it would have made more sense to do painting for the challenge because that's what I'm more comfortable with, and that Inktober itself is a challenge enough. You don't need any extra pressure, and to that, I say phooey! I thought it would be a doubly fun double challenge to have almost a crash course in using markers, where the only art I make for the next month would be using this medium only. Then I can look back on all my pieces and try to see if there's been any progression. Also, since they didn't get much use after I bought them, I thought this would be a great chance to bust them out, give them some tabletop time, where they get to cover the top of my desk instead of my paintbrushes, and not be tucked away in some stinky little drawer. To be fair, yes, I did use paint and ink on a couple of the pieces, but for the majority, I used markers. Leave a comment down below, what is your preferred art medium, and do you think that you'd be willing to do a month-long challenge using a medium you're not familiar with? I'd be really interested to see if anyone else thinks like me. Day 28 was apple picking. Apple picking. Apple picking, apple picking. I've said that too many times. Using reference for the pose, I was thinking that this would end up being one of my favorites because of how I envisioned it looking in my head, but as I got further into the drawing, her face kind of started looking a bit goofy, and I think I might have drawn her eye a bit too wide or something. I'm not sure, but I tried to overcompensate the eye mistake by adding shadows to it to make it look like it's not open so wide. Like, she just looks so shocked picking this apple, and I think in the end, it ended up looking like she's just wearing a ton of eye makeup, which, people can wear heavy makeup to pick apples, I don't care. It's just not exactly the look that I was going for. One of my biggest struggles with marker illustrations is backgrounds. It's so much harder for me with markers than it is, say, with watercolors. I'm just not confident in blending with markers yet. Also, I worry about wasting ink, so just coloring in whole backgrounds kinda makes me cringe. Another struggle I had with this Inktober challenge was coming up with cohesive color schemes for each drawing. Even though I have 40 different marker colors, it was still tough for me. I'm aware that you can blend markers together to create new colors, which is one of the main reasons why brush tips are so popular. They make that technique much simpler. I've been using the Spectrum Noir Illustrator dual tip alcohol markers. What a mouthful. They have a brush nib and a bullet nib, and while I do think they're a top-notch marker, I just am not at the skill level yet to be able to blend things as well as I'd like. Unlike with watercolors, where you basically have hundreds of colors at your disposal because there's almost an endless number of color variations you can mix. I feel like markers are much more difficult in terms of technical skill, for me at least, and I really admire artists like Lucid Nima, Natalia Madej, and Rin from Drawing with Waffles. They are some great marker artists and I really enjoy their work. Day 29 was Teapot, and I wanted this to look like a realistic teapot while the colors remained bold and bright. To be completely honest, I was not liking how this was turning out at all. I thought it was going to be a complete fail, but by the time I started adding in the darker shadows and the bright highlights, I started liking it more and more. And instead of just having a lonely teapot, I decided to add a couple little teacups and some leaves just to decorate the page a bit more. And once all of those pieces were in place, I look at this drawing now and it's easily one of my favorites. I think it just looks so cute. Don't give up on a drawing too early because it's not coming along how you thought. I'm not saying pour hours into art that you hate, but just give it a chance before you toss it
in the trash.
I think realism, or semi-realism because that's the style I enjoy making the most, realism with markers is so tricky for me because, like I said, I really struggle with the blending of colors. Getting that seamless gradient between the colors almost always ends up in a grainy look on the paper. I'm not sure if it's because I put down the next layer of ink before the previous one had dried, or maybe it's something else. Let me know in the comments, please, what causes this to happen? It happened on my pumpkin pie drawing as well. I'm almost sure it's not the paper because I'm using Strathmore smooth Bristol board paper, and I've heard that that is a favorite among many marker artists. Day 30 was sleeping, and I took my own reference photo this time of my son Link. He's got his favorite blankie, which he has named Cyan, wrapped around him like he always does. I tried to get as close to the color as I could. Here's the reference photo and what the color of the blanket looks like. We've tried to tell him that it's more of an aquamarine color, but you just can't argue with a 3-year-old. To be fair, when I Google image searched cyan, this color was shown as a variant, so yeah, maybe he's onto something. The big, ugly, yellow mess that was supposed to be a pillow just was not working out. Fabric texture is so hard. I tried starting out with grays for the shadows, but like I said before, my only grays are very dark and it didn't look very good. I tried making the pillow darker to hide the hideousness, but I will at least say that I think this is one of the best face colorings I've done with markers so far. I used a light lilac color for the shadows, and I worked a long time to get the facial proportions right. I even posted on my Instagram how proud I was of just the nose. When I was finished, I showed it to my son Link and I asked him, "Who is this?" And he said, "It's Lincoln and Cyan." So if my 3-year-old recognizes it as what I meant for it to be, I consider that a win. The final drawing, the final day, day 31. The prompt was moon, and I wanted to try another silhouette piece like I did with dancing. So I drew a large moon with a couple of kids sitting under it, with the moon reflecting brightly over them and casting them into shadows. My first try at this was an absolute fail. I ended up using Indian ink for the whole piece, with a white gel pen coming in clutch for those highlights. So here are all the drawings I made for this video. And here are all 31 drawings for the 2020 Inktober challenge. This is my first Inktober, and I can proudly say I'm glad it's over. If I were to ever do this again, I would not make full detailed with background illustrations. I think I got a bit ambitious and forced myself to see it through to the end. I did go a bit simpler on some pieces just to give myself a break, coming up with ideas for all the prompts and using a medium I know nothing about. It's safe to say I felt a bit overwhelmed at times, but I did manage to finish, and I'm proud of myself for that. I sincerely hope you enjoyed these videos and watching me make these 31 drawings. I appreciate every single one of you who have been watching and liking and commenting, because I do read and respond to all of the comments. I think Monday's video is going to be a more chill, real-time sketch with me style video. I feel like I've been bombarding you guys with so many videos this month, and I've been a bit self-conscious about it, so I'll be glad to get back to my once-a-week Monday videos. If you like this video, make sure to please click the thumbs up button, and if you enjoy my content and want to see more from me, please click that red subscribe button and also the little bell icon. Turn your notifications to all if you'd like YouTube to let you know when my next video goes up, which from now on should just be Monday mornings. Oh, and the once a month Friday videos for the Art Addicts Alliance. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.